Ronald Acuna Jr. is coming off a historic MVP season, but this year, his only goal is to win the Atlanta Braves a World Series. However, there's a big problem because I've reset him all the way to 0 overall, and the only way to get him back to 99 overall is by spinning this magic wheel. We're gonna find out how good this team is without their superstar, because it's gonna be a long climb back to the top for Acuna, so this will definitely be a challenge as our first at-bat of the year ends in a ground out. At least we didn't strike out, but we really need one of these to drop, because simply getting on base is gonna earn us our first spin from the wheel. It's crazy seeing what a 0 in every stat looks like, as I thought I got a hold of this one, but it's popped up. So even though I'm a huge liability out in the field, I hope that contacts my first upgrade, but obviously I don't know when that upgrade's gonna come, and right on cue, that's our first hit of the challenge in game number 3. I am absolutely screwed if I have to run anywhere on the field, but thankfully Bryce Harper's gonna save me. I'm definitely a little bit nervous about our team, because along with getting Acuna up to 99 overall, we also have to win them a World Series, but then on top of that, we have to win Acuna an MVP. So even though Acuna's helpless right now, this is our first step to getting him back to glory, and +5 to all stats is a very nice way to open this one up. That puts him up to a world-breaking 6 overall, and hopefully he can perform against one of baseball's worst teams, but even against them, his ratings are absolutely terrible, so I need to focus on squaring these up. 5 vision is making this so hard, but here's some contact over to the shortstop, who's gonna get to it and make an amazing play. We would have beat that out if we had more speed. This guy stole 70 bases last year, and now he can't even get an easy infield single, but it's okay, because lucky for us, we got a base hit, and we're leading the White Sox, but that was almost another single. In the end, it was only a 3-run game, but we all know the biggest victory is earning another wheel spin, and we got the upgrade that I just said I wanted. Acuna's overall is already approaching double digits, and with a fresh new contact boost, he's looking to drive in his first RBI, which is gonna have to wait. We have to take advantage of this opportunity against a bad team, but if we're gonna do that and earn another upgrade, I can't be swinging early at meatballs like that last one. Making Ronald Acuna Jr. the worst player in baseball was a bad idea, but maybe this is the break we need on his best contact yet, but it's not deep enough. It feels like we lost any momentum that we had in the challenge, but here we go, going the other way with this one, and you already know what I'm thinking. No matter what, I'm rounding first base, heading for second, and the throw's not even gonna come near me. It took a while, but we finally got our first extra base hit, and fielding is not a very great upgrade, but at least in the way I do this challenge, it means that we earn a +20 boost to our speed, and those upgrades gave us our biggest overall boost yet. We're still looking for revenge against the National League champs because they beat us last game, and this grounder is not gonna get through the infield, so I'd like to earn another wheel spin in this game, but these pop-ups are absolutely killing me, and at least we took the victory. This series is tied up in the last game, and I want nothing more for 15 overall Ronald Acuna to be the difference, but this could actually be his chance because the bases are loaded and all he needs is a sacrifice fly, which this pop-up is gonna deliver. He finally did something with that 5 overall power rating as we won the series, but it's gonna take more than that to get another upgrade, but here's our first base hit in a couple games. That's gonna earn us another wheel spin, but we're losing to the Mets right now, so I'm trying to beat out this throw, and I'm going to, except they called me out. I can't help but feel like I got robbed in that situation, but we're gonna go the other way against Edwin Diaz, and since I drove this one right down the line, we're gonna extend it into extra bases, and that's definitely enough to earn us wheel spin number 4, which lands on +20 to all hitting. I don't think that there is a better upgrade that we could have gotten from that, because we jumped all the way up to 32 overall. However, as Ronald Acuna's overall continues to grow, it's gonna be even harder to earn wheel spins, so simply getting on base will not be enough to earn upgrades, and he's gonna need to show off some power, as this is his best hit ball of the entire video. Just like in the playoffs though, the Braves are having trouble against the Phillies, and we have another tough series against the Houston Astros where Acuna's gonna start off strong. But remember that single alone is not gonna earn him another upgrade, so we need a multi-hit game, and unfortunately he's underneath this one. This game is so important if we're gonna get Acuna back to 99 overall, and he just got the best possible pitch to hit. That is an easy double. That gave Atlanta another win, which earned us another wheel spin where we're cashing in on 20 speed. Maybe Acuna will be able to start stealing bases again, since that's a big part of his game, but even without prime Acuna, the Braves are 12-6. However, the grind continues as we're taking on the defending champs, and it's definitely annoying how good this schedule is because there's no way we're gonna earn an upgrade against Jacob deGrom. We're getting blown out in this game, but at least we were able to single off of Andrew Heaney, and I'll absolutely take it because our batting average at the end of the first month is only 225. Unfortunately though, this challenge isn't getting any easier, but we did get a hit off Luis Castillo, so that's a huge plus because Seattle's rotation's elite, and that was almost a double. Unfortunately, he couldn't get it to stay fair, but the contact has been consistently much better, and he's actually gonna manage to beat out a throw. The Braves are winning more games as Acuna improves, and they're in very good shape in the NL East. Acuna earned another wheel spin, and I'm so glad he did because it's gonna land on a great upgrade of +20 to any stat that we're putting into his contact versus right. Finally, one of his ratings is above 50, just in time for our schedule gauntlet to continue against the Dodgers, and there's that contact paying off. We just spun the wheel, but a multi-hit game against Los Angeles would definitely give us another one, and this is a double into the gap for Ronald Acuna. I apologize for missing such a huge game that earned us another huge upgrade, as we have 100 points to spend, and I'm going all in on hitting, which is gonna get us up to 50 overall. I made Ronald Acuna the worst possible player, but he's already already back up to 50 overall and just hit another double. So it feels like we're on pace for another upgrade, but missed the chance for a multi-hit game, and at least we won another game, as no one should be surprised the Braves are winning the division. All we need is one good pitch to hit, and here it is right on cue, going into left field for an easy double. That was great timing, especially because we need more extra base hits, and I think this is another one going into the right center gap, and that's definitely gonna be two. Acuna's first two-double game of the video earned him another upgrade, and the magic wheel is once again gonna come through with plus 10 to all hitting stats. So now I have to actually scroll to find out what his overall is, and it's 58. The playoffs are gonna be very fun if Acuna keeps improving at this pace, because Atlanta still has the best record in baseball, even though he started at 0 overall. However, we cannot let off the gas because Philly's only a few games back, and this is another multi-hit performance. Both of Acuna's hits have helped his team pull ahead, but he is not done, because for the first time in this entire video, he has secured 3 hits, which on its own is going to secure another wheel spin, but why not add a 4th hit and a second double to a big win? We're cashing out on what hopefully becomes Acuna's breakout performance, and 10 more points to his power can only help as he's officially into the 60s. I'm really hoping that he can sustain this pace because his batting average is up to 225, which for most standards is not good, but his OPS is climbing near 600. We've gone hitless in this one, and we're getting blown out, but Acuna just sent this one to deep center field for his first no doubt blast of the video. His power is finally in good enough shape to hit some dingers, and that might have been the only good thing about this game, as there is no doubt we're going back to the Wheel of Fortune, which is going to come up huge once again. This is another elite upgrade for Ronald Acuna that's going to get him up to 72 overall, so now I'm interested in seeing if he can get out of the bottom of the lineup, as this is much improved opposite field power, but it's definitely not going to clear the fence. We are getting blown out again, and I do not have a hit in this game despite making some good contact, as I do exactly that again, but this one might actually have a chance going back to the wall in left center field and climbing the fence. That one barely got over, but it's another home run for Acuna, and at this point the Braves are 60-23, which is on pace to make them the best team of all time. Usually in these videos I take whatever team I'm controlling and turn them into a God squad, but the Braves are already so good that I don't really need to do that, and I guess the playoffs are going to really decide what we do in the offseason. We're in a great position because improving Acuna's stats is the best way to improve this team, and with this wheel spin he's going to get a huge upgrade to get his contact versus right up to 99 overall, and even though he has no defense, he's already up to an 89 overall, which is the 6th best player on the team. I finally moved him back to number 3 in the lineup, and I am so glad he did, because this is another no-doubter as he dug out a low pitch and launched it to the moon. It's kind of funny we've lost every game we've hit a home run in, but I really can't complain because we're 9 games up in our division, and despite his recent improvements, Acuna was near the bottom for right field all-star voting. Obviously with his recent upgrades, I've almost been exclusively power swinging, and as you could expect, the results have been great, as this is another drive into left field with runners in scoring position, but we can't get it to drop. Even though he's hit more dingers, he's still not delivering with runners on base, but right on cue, that's a 2-run shot. I still don't even care that he's the worst fielder in MLB history, because remember that we're trying to win MVP in this one, and dingers are the way to do it. Seriously, why do they keep leaving fastballs over the middle? That is a multi-home run performance for former 0 overall Acuna, so of course we're going to earn another wheel spin, and at least this plus 20 into his speed is going to help out in the field. You're seeing history on this channel because after a year of playing on All-Star, I'm going up to Hall of Fame, and I've thought about it for a while, but I guess I never did it because I only started playing this game seriously a year ago, so it looks like it's going to make this challenge more difficult because we only have 1 hit. I also want to show this draft because even though we won't go too far in the future, we got a couple of arms that could maybe even help us out next season. If we fail to win the World Series this year, I definitely want to be prepared for next season, and there's that speed upgrade on display. But obviously, that's a fielder's choice, so we're still hitless, but maybe not for long, because this is an absolute rocket going the other way into right center, and no matter what, I'm going to try to stretch this into our first triple of the video, and Acuna's got more than enough speed. It's definitely disappointing we're tied up with the Giants in this one, but Acuna mashed this into left center field, going all the way back to the wall where it's gonna be caught. I thought that could be a dinger, and this pitcher is so annoying, but thankfully our team rallied to earn a win, and we are absolutely cooking in the middle of August. We've only lost 1 game this entire month, so we're looking to continue this momentum, but we're down 3-0 to the Angels, and if Acuna got a little bit more on this, it'd be gone. We're definitely gonna lose this game, but at least Acuna's 9th inning double allowed him to avoid a hitless performance, and considering he started at 0 overall, he's really turned things around with 14 bombs, 45 RBIs, and an 829 OPS. It's been a while since we've spun the wheel, and Acuna really deserves it after all the great performances he's put together recently, and while his speed's gonna get up to 99, this is not the best upgrade because we could really use some fielding stats. We have nearly gotten Ronald Acuna Jr. back up to 99 overall, but it's gonna be tough to get the last few overall points he needs because it's getting more and more difficult to earn spins from the magic wheel, as this is a no-doubter, but it's gonna drift foul. That would have definitely earned us another upgrade, but at least he's gonna slap this single up the middle. So Acuna's got a multi-hit game, as this one's going into extras, where at least his 99 speed helps him avoid a double play, and we win this game. Going into September, we're in a great spot to break the all-time win record, and that's crazy because for most of the season, we were neck and neck with Philadelphia, but Acuna's emergence has helped us pull ahead. That third inning dinger helped Atlanta pull ahead 5-1, and this could have been another one if we made better contact, but instead we missed an opportunity and our bullpen completely collapsed, so surprisingly, Philadelphia actually won this one. I'm starting to get nervous because Atlanta could have the best possible regular season, but still fall into a slump in the playoffs like they did in real life, so we really need to get Acuna up to 99 overall before the end of the season for some extra insurance. Somehow we turned that last at-bat into a double despite chasing it way out of the zone, and this looks like another good hit, but it's not going to go far enough. Thankfully, we still pick up a W. We're up to 108 wins with 15 games to go, but these wins won't come easy, especially as we're facing the Dodgers. And after missing a chance to score 2 runs, we're power swinging, but this looks like a pop-up that's going to continue flying into right center field and eventually climb the fence. It did not look like that one had a chance at all, and at least we have a 2-run lead, but I wish that dinger came with 2 guys on. We held on to take the first game of the series, and this could be Acuna's last wheel spin of the season, and we're going to be able to max out any stat, so without a doubt, I'm putting this into his fielding, and while he's not 99 overall, Ronald Acuna Jr. is once again the best player on the Braves. This game could be a playoff preview, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is not messing around, extending his hit streak to 11 games with a nuke. That one got railed 469 feet, and considering he started this year with zeros in every stat, he's actually putting together a very good season, but it's still not done because we're going for 116 wins. We have 13 games to secure 6 wins, but we're down 2 to LA, and unfortunately, Acuna picked a bad time for an off game. Moving forward, we need to win half of our last 8 games if we want to break the all-time win record, but it's been a while since Acuna secured an extra base hit, and obviously this is concerning because we are very close to the playoffs where we cannot afford to be in a slump, but thankfully this gapping rainbow of a hit is going to get down for a triple. Unfortunately though, Miami ended up winning this game, so I was nervous we were going to choke away the record that was right in our hands, but thankfully we won our next 4 games to secure an all-time great 117 wins. Acuna's biggest competition for MVP could be on his very own team, with Spencer Strider winning it, but at least he's not in the American League because Corey Seager won the first Triple Crown since 2012. Acuna ended his year very strong, so hopefully he can take this with him into the playoffs, and we're going to help him out with one more wheel spin before the postseason, which is going to land on plus 100, and you already know we're going all in on his fielding, which is going to finally get him up to 99 overall, completing this video's first challenge. We're getting the best version of Ronald Acuna Jr. right in time for the playoffs, and he's starting out the NLDS with a no-doubter. That was the start of a disastrous game for San Diego, so we have a big advantage going into game 2, and they left me another slow pitch over the plate that I'm gonna obliterate. That is 2 home runs and 2 Atlanta wins, so the Padres have completely dug themselves a hole, and we're looking for the sweep as we get another single. That was Acuna's first playoff hit that didn't clear the fence, and he could be looking for home run number 3, obliterating this off-speed pitch into left center field, where it's gonna be caught, but at least that's a sac fly. The Padres have not put up much of a fight at all in this playoff series, which is a little disappointing, but we're moving on to the NLCS. This is the matchup I was anticipating, and unfortunately, it is not off to a good start, but Acuna's gonna pull a double, and apparently that helped spark a rally that erased a 5-run deficit as it's only a 1-run game. Then we took a 7-6 lead in the 3rd inning because there's no pitching on either side as Acuna adds on an RBI single, and only 4 innings later, it's 15-7 Atlanta, which was enough to win us game 1. Game 2 is already much less exciting than game 1, but we're gonna take a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning with this deep solo shot. We scored 2 more runs in the 7th, followed by another 2-run shot from Acuna, and they left a slider right in the middle of the plate. That is 2 home runs in the same game for Acuna, and we've gone up 2-0 against our biggest challenge. Now we're in a bit of trouble facing the Dodgers ace and the last player I did this challenge with in Shohei Ohtani, so while you should go watch that video right after you finish this one, the Dodgers made this series a little more interesting. We still have the lead though, so there's no need to panic, especially when Acuna's been on a roll, but so far after 3 innings, this game's scoreless. That would continue into the top of the 7th, but we just lifted this pitch deep into left field, and that is gone. Acuna does it again, home run number 5 of the postseason, and I wish he could be the hero in this one, but the Dodgers immediately tied it up and would steal the victory. That was a heartbreaking ending, but we're trying to forget about it real quick. Ronald Acuna Jr., 3rd inning grand slam. It's going to be very difficult for the Dodgers to come back from that one in a tie series, especially because Acuna went yard again, and we are 1 win away from making the World Series. Getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back up to 99 overall has made all the difference for Atlanta, but unfortunately for us, this series is not over because the Dodgers scored 7 runs. There's not a lot of time to make something happen, but Acuna goes yard for the 8th time in the playoffs, and honestly, it's just getting ridiculous at this point because everything he touches goes over the fence. Changing the difficulty has not made much of a difference so far, but Atlanta's in danger of wasting this elite performance in a winner-takes-all Game 7, and this is officially feeling like when these 2 teams met up in the 2020 NLCS. Just like in that series, Atlanta was just 1 win away from making the World Series, and history has repeated itself again despite an 8-run postseason from Ronald Acuna Jr. We're gonna make some moves this offseason to make sure that doesn't happen again, and we're gonna start by making this super unrealistic trade for Chris Paddock from the Twins, but we could also use some more bullpen talent, so we're gonna add Cano from the Orioles. And then for a position player upgrade, I I think that Orlando Arcia is a fine player, but Geraldo Perdomo from the Diamondbacks is much better. The final move I'm making is this trade for Seiya Suzuki, and after all of that, I think we've officially built the God Squad and can go complete this challenge. I didn't think it was possible for a team that won 119 games to get better, but that's exactly what happened, and Acuna's looking to win the MVP. Anything short of an absolutely historic World Series winning season would be a disappointment, as Acuna just went yard against the Astros, but I'm a little disappointed because we're down 2 runs, but we just used their pitcher's leg as a pinball machine, and that had to hurt, but in the end, Acuna's gonna be able to beat it out, and we actually won this game. However, near the end of April, we're not even winning the division, and this is definitely bad because despite making all these changes, we might not be better than last year. This is bizarre because Ronald Acuna has over 1,000 OPS through the first month, but it's former Brave Marcell Ozuna who's leading the MVP race. I can't believe that a player we traded away is actually threatening Acuna for MVP, but we need to figure things out fast because we can't get anything to drop. The Marlins are 2 games up in our division, and they're also going to be our next opponent as Acuna flew out on his first at-bat. Miami has a 3-0 lead in the 4th inning, and once again, Acuna's just going to fly out, and things would only get worse after that as Acuna blooped this double into left field, but it would not be enough to spark a comeback. It's going to be impossible for Ronald Acuna Jr. to win an MVP if he stays 9 home runs behind his former teammate Marcell Ozuna, and this will help. His opposite field shot ended a dry spell and helped Atlanta win. Winning the last game of the series would only put us a game back in the West, and we started this one out with a double, but in a crazy turn of events, Marcell Ozuna topped it with a homer. This is one of the wildest storylines I've ever seen play out in one of my videos, as our former player has 22 home runs, while Acuna just has 12, but make it 13. We really need him to heat up, and that's his second dinger in 2 games as we took the series. Our next series is even more important, however, because we're looking for revenge against the Dodgers after they knocked us out of the playoffs, and so far this game is just as back and forth as the NLCS was, but after they intentionally walked Acuna, we scored another run. We got our revenge with the series sweep, and we finally pulled ahead of the Marlins. However, Marcell Ozuna was showing no signs of slowing down with 27 bombs, but the bigger surprise is that Acuna isn't even leading his own team in RBIs. I was certain at the start of the year that Acuna would be the easy MVP favorite, but right now he's not even in the top 3, but there's still plenty of time. The most annoying thing about all of this though is that we built a God Squad in the offseason just to be struggling against the Marlins, and it's a good thing Acuna had a good game because that made all the difference as we stay in possession of first place. All I want is for this team to go away as we just got swept by the Phillies, so it's become clear to me that no matter how good our team is, this game's sim logic makes no sense, and that could be a huge make or break for the rest of the challenge. Remember to drop a like and subscribe if you're enjoying, and comment what other videos you want to see from me, because this video has already been very weird, and that's Acuna's 3rd single of the day, which isn't going to help him in the MVP race. Obviously getting on base is important, but this game heavily weights home runs and RBIs for MVP, and at the All-Star break, Marcell Ozuna stays at number 1, but we've seen a bunch of different names at 2 and 3. On paper, our team has been okay, but they have not performed at the level I expected from a super team, and after winning MVP, Spencer Strider is having a terrible year. The Marlins don't want to go away, but they're our first opponent in the second half, and Acuna's first swing is a dinger. Hopefully there's a lot more of those down the line, and how about another one in this very game? Acuna making it number 2, and you know Marcell Ozuna's watching. This would be the best way to start the second half of the year, but unfortunately the Marlins took the lead, but thankfully there's still hope because a 9th inning rally from Atlanta sent this one to extra innings where Acuna could end it with his 3rd home run of the game. What a statement to start the second half of the year after underperforming, and it looks like this MVP race is coming down to the wire. I am curious if we've done enough to win in the playoffs this year against the Dodgers. Acuna can't get this one to stay fair. We really needed that one because we're down by 2 runs, but Acuna in one swing is going to tie this game. That's number 37 on the year as he's catching up to Ozuna, but for whatever reason, our offense completely disappears when Acuna does something good. To make things even worse though, the Phillies came out of nowhere to take the division lead, so while the Marlins have struggled after a hot start, we have another rival to worry about, but at least Marcell Ozuna has slowed down and he just watched Ronald Acuna go deep to tie him for home runs on the year. He finally closed the gap on him in August, and sure enough, he has stolen the lead for MVP. We have just over 2 weeks to close the 2.5 game gap on the Phillies, but they're our next opponent, so this series could very much decide the division as Acuna drove this one down the 3rd baseline. However, they cut into our 4-run lead with a 3-run bomb, so Acuna's gonna one-up them, hitting a grand slam in the top of the 9th and closing the door on their comeback. Winning this division is obviously very important, and I never anticipated us being in this spot, but I don't want to play in the wild card, and hopefully this gives Acuna an opportunity to rise in the MVP ranks as that is another RBI single up the middle. That looked exactly the same as the last play, but I am not complaining because now we're only half a game back in the division. At this point in the year, every pitcher is throwing around me, and that's a smart move considering that Acuna leads the MLB in home runs, but he couldn't get another one. Game 3 is going to come down to the 9th inning where unfortunately Alvarado is the perfect meat shield, and while Acuna is going to beat out this double play, it didn't matter in the end. We missed out on the opportunity to take the division lead, and Ronald Acuna Jr. and Marcell Ozuna are neck and neck for the MVP. We're going to leave the rest of this season up to Sim, and I'm glad I did because we only lost 3 games and ended up winning the division. However, the biggest question is if Ronald Acuna's 50 bombs and 132 RBIs were enough to secure him the MVP, and sure enough, he barely beat out Marcell Ozuna. Unfortunately though, the Dodgers beat us for the first round bye by 1 game, so we're in the wild card round, but we're looking to make quick work of the Cubs, and Acuna pulls this one to left field, and just like last year, he's starting out with a deep bomb. That wild card round was way too easy, but now we're actually in a close one against the Cardinals as Acuna drives this one deep, but it looks like it's gonna come up just short of the fence. A home run there would have won us the game because now we're in extra innings where we struck out, so at least our team was able to get us a win. Hopefully this isn't the start of a playoff slump for Acuna because Atlanta really needs him, especially because winning this series would put us up against Philadelphia or Los Angeles. Our team once again deserves credit for an impressive performance because they found success even though Acuna has 1 hit in this playoff series but make it 2. However, our pitching had a meltdown out of nowhere, giving up 10 runs, so St. Louis is able to extend this series another game and Acuna comes up with an early RBI. Out of nowhere, both teams' offenses exploded, scoring 11 runs between each other, and this one's gonna get down from Acuna to score another. That would be enough to advance us to the NLCS, where no matter what, we're playing a team that we don't like. However, MLB The Show gives us the rematch we wanted against the Dodgers. We've been waiting all season for revenge after revamping this roster in the offseason, and now that we're here, Ohtani is absolutely sweating. We're up 10-7 in the 9th inning, and even though Acuna didn't get a hit in this one, it was still enough to win. This has been a very disappointing playoff stretch for Ronald Acuna, but at least he scored 2 RBIs on the 2nd inning double in Game 2, and that's all he needed to do because our offense has been absolutely electric. Last season, Acuna had 8 playoff home runs, but it still wasn't enough because his team didn't deliver, and at least this 3-run shot just gave them the lead. Now Atlanta desperately needs Acuna to heat up with the bases loaded, and he hit this one right at the shortstop, but thankfully it's an error, and that lucky run made this series 3-0. The Dodgers are facing elimination, but Miller is pitching an absolute gem, so we're down 3-0 in the 8th, where Miller is still in. Los Angeles was able to stay alive in this one, so the series is gonna last at least another game, but obviously Atlanta has some bad memories when up 3-1 to the Dodgers. This situation is way too familiar for Ronald Acuna Jr., who's swinging for the fences, but this is gonna be a sac fly, so at least that added a run, but this game has been way too close for comfort. The only thing worse than blowing a 3-1 lead is blowing a 3-0 lead, so Acuna's trying to make something happen with this RBI double, but in the end, it would not be enough. I'm officially terrified because we're facing off against Shohei Ohtani again, but thankfully we watched this dinger fly into left field for what is only Acuna's 3rd playoff home run, but is definitely the most important one yet. Those 2 first-inning runs sparked a huge offensive surge for Atlanta, and we're leading by 6, and that was enough to finally get revenge on the Los Angeles Dodgers after last season and advance to the World Series. I'll admit this is a huge decrease in difficulty after facing the Dodgers, but we're losing by 2 runs. So thankfully our offense woke up in the 7th inning where Acuna blasted this one into right field, but it's not going to go far enough. We cannot afford to underestimate Tampa Bay, especially because they were the World Series runner-ups last season and Acuna can't get on base. We're lucky that our pitching has not given up a single run today because we're only leading by 1, but then a 9th inning home run put the Rays up by 2 games. It feels like our offense used up all of its momentum against the Dodgers, so we've really had to lean on our pitching in this game, but Acuna just went deep in the 5th inning to make it 3-0. Thankfully, we won our first game of this series, but everything would be different if we would have won that 2nd game, so I'm kind of frustrated, but at least Acuna started this one out with extra bases. Thankfully, we tied the series as our offense finally broke through, so Game 5 could be the most important of the series so far, and I don't know how we didn't obliterate that fastball. This has been another competitive, low-scoring game, and thankfully, we scored 3 runs to finally get on the board and take the lead, as we were able to win our 3rd straight game of the series. The Rays are facing elimination after an epic comeback, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to make a statement, going deep to straightaway center, and this one is gone. In the end, that dinger made all the difference as we won the final game of the World Series by 2 runs, as I sent Ronald Acuna all the way back to 0 overall, and within 2 seasons, I got him back up to 99 overall and won the Braves a World Series. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this one. Remember to drop a like, subscribe, and comment any other videos that you'd like to see, and in the meantime, click right here to see more of my content.